All right, and welcome back to the podcast, or the next episode of the podcast, I guess you can say. I must apologize for two things. One, I do apologize for episodes, not coming out weekly as I wanted to. I mean, it's back to how it was. It's back to like how it used to be, how it takes forever for the next episode to come back. And then, how if I sound kind of different, it's because I'm just like recovering from I'm recovering from a cold that I just had earlier, so I feel a lot better now. It's just I still have a little bit of cough and some what's the word I'm looking for? I guess you can say like stuffiness, but not really. But a little bit more better than how I've been these past couple of days. So like I said, I haven't really been releasing a lot of episodes. I've been trying to get the Samurai Jack episode released for a long time, but I've had like some computer issues and it just kept crashing. The software that I've been using just keeps crashing, and then I had to restart all over again. It's just daunting. So I got my boy Rishi doing the editing again. I'm always gonna be thankful for you, man. Well, I'm going to still try to get as much episodes or record as many episodes as I can to at least get like some episodes in for the season. Still plans for the final episode, which would be the Indiana Jones episode. And yes, we'll still have our Oscars episode. And and if you can imagine, yes, I haven't even been recording some episodes because of all the struggles that I've had trying to at least edit the episode. Anyway, so let's just get everything set and let's just continue moving on for these next couple of weeks or episodes, really. For today's episode, we are going to be talking about let's just rewind this back. A couple of weeks ago, I decided to watch I decided to watch the Amy Winehouse movie called Back in Black. If it's on Amazon, if you guys ever want to check it out. I'm not going to review the movie and stuff like that. That's not what it's about. And if you've read the description of the episode, that's not what the episode's going to be about. It's going to have some Amy Winehouse stuff in there, but not entirely. The episode is going to be about, what was it going to be? It's going to be called the 27 Club. And going back to watching the Amy Winehouse movie, that's kind of like what inspired me to create this episode. It's because, if you know, you know, and for those that don't know, the 27 Club is not a club. It's an unfortunate event. The 27 Club is just basically a list of singers, actors, like people who died at the age of 27. And it became a big deal. Like, I know people are probably like, bro, like there's like actors, or there's plenty of other people who've died, within the same age, but it's like a vast majority of just famous people that just happen to die at the age of 27. And most of the time, okay, so let's give a reason why it had become this like big thing. 27 is a young age. That's just pretty much it. 2, most of these folks that have died, as you can probably believe, is mostly because of like drugs and alcohol. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's just how it went down. It's usually because they take a lot of drugs, they take a lot of alcohol. That's how it usually went. And then I know like maybe one was like just a freak accident, but the earliest one I could think of, and I could start with this one because it's an interesting story to tell. It's a famous story actually. If you've never heard of it. It is the story of Robert Johnson, who, as we are all seeing this now, or how it's going, is he died at the age of 27. Robert Johnson, I'm pretty sure people know the story, but for those that don't know the story of Robert Johnson was a blues musician back in the 1930s. He was kind of like the start of the reason why rock and roll was invented. He was a very famous blues musician, and his story goes, and I don't know how true this is. I can't stress this enough. I don't know how true this is, It could be true. It could be a superstition. All we know is that, like, what this story is, and if you know the story, you know where I'm going with this. And if you don't know the story, I'm about to tell you, because I know you guys are kind of like thinking in your mind, well, what's the story? Because I sound like my old boss Mariana, by the way. What's the story? That's something he used to say when we would film stuff. But the story here is that Robert Johnson supposedly made a deal with the devil. Like, that was the story. That he met the devil at a crossroads, I think Mississippi, and made the deal of becoming, like, the greatest blues musician at that time. And, like, he was becoming, like, a really good blues musician, but his career lasted less than a year, really. What happened was, and nobody really knows, but he just died. Like, that was it. He died. Like, I think some probably said it was drugs. Others said it might have been poison. They just know that, like, he died. Hold on. So if I could get this story straight, let me see. All right, give me a second, folks. All right, so yep, I'm looking at the report still. But according to some of these files, they said that his heart just stopped. Like, it said he died on August 16th, 1938. He was, again, 27 years old, and he died in Greenwood, Mississippi. According, there was no autopsy report, no official cause of death. They say he probably had syphilis. It's just crazy. It's wild. Again, I know some people are going to be like, oh, well, that's just crazy. Again, he was 27. Let's also go to now. I guess we could talk about her now. Amy Winehouse. By the way, if you want to know, I thought the movie was okay. But I'm not the biggest Amy Winehouse fan. Anyway, it's interesting how young she was, how young like Amy Winehouse was when she first ran into her ex-husband. And her ex-husband, I forgot what the guy's name is, but Blake, yeah. Her ex-husband Blake was always blamed for the one that introduced her to drugs, because she was also addicted to drugs, and she was also heavily drinking. And when I saw the movie, and then when you watch like the movie and the shows and concerts that she's done, give me a second. When you watch the shows and concerts, that of Amy Winehouse in the movie, just in the movie first, and you see like how the actress portrays Amy Winehouse, how like she's always drunk and high on the stages. I mean, you could just see it in her face. But then you go back, and I'm only speaking really for people who don't really listen to Amy Winehouse, who's never listened to Amy Winehouse. I've actually never heard of Amy Winehouse until the day she died. And my friend has, and he told me that that he used to listen to Amy Winehouse, and that how upset he was, dying so young at 27. And I thought she died from a drug overdose. That's actually what I've always been reading reading. They know, because the reports always said that she would take a lot of drugs. She was also a heavy smoker. I don't smoke for multiple reasons. She would smoke, and then she would drink a lot, and then she would do heroin. I think Blake, her ex-husband, was always snorting heroin. I don't know if it was ever like the needle or like they've injected heroin into their system, but mostly I believe that they would always snort heroin. And it's tragic, because like she was just such a like she was. First of all, I'm gonna say, like, she was beautiful. Like, she was a beautiful musician, and then she had a great and very distinct voice, and then she had a different style than a lot of musicians at the time did. The other thing is that like she wasn't like a pop singer either. She did like jazz-ish kind of music, or I think kind of blues. Like when you listen to, Back in Black, not Back in Black, sorry, that's wrong. That's a wrong band. That's AC/DC. When you listen to Back to Black, yeah, you get where the confusion comes in, guys. But anyway, when you listen to Back to Black, or when you listen to that song, when you listen to Back to Black, I'm sorry, I'm having like the most brain explosion that when you listen to it, I mean, the song's different. Rehab, Valerie, I'm not going to sing for you guys, by the way. I'm not going to. Come on. You think I'm going to disrespect Amy Winehouse in that position? No. But when you listen to Back to Black and Valerie in Rehab and a lot of other of her songs, it's very different. I mean, I think even in the movie, she was talking to her father, and they were saying why doesn't the modern age, and this was the early 2000s, by the way, but it still applies to this era. Why the modern age doesn't like listening to jazz, and I don't listen to jazz either. So I've never been much of a jazz guy, but I mean, I watched Whiplash a couple of times. But to the point, her story is tragic because she met Blake. She fell in love. And when people fall in love, you guys, they do stupid things. I mean, I think she always had that tattoo of Blake on her chest, even after they divorced. Because I think they were married for 2 years. And most of the marriage was in while he was in jail. And then there's a scene in the movie that's literally a line for line of something that Amy Winehouse actually said at a concert, where she says, "My husband gets out of jail in a couple of days." I think that's what it said. And then you hear a little bit of a cheer, not a large cheer, but a very soft cheer, sorry, a very soft cheer. And then you hear a kind of a bunch of boos as well. And she's like, "Who booed? Who booed?" It's like, "I'll find you. I'm gonna get your cell phone and call your mom," and something about teaching you how to get some manners or something like that. All while she's drinking. And when I saw that in the movie, and then I looked it up, and I saw that actually it was legit line from line. You can look it up too. If you've seen the movie, and then you've seen that, and then you see that concert, and then yeah, it's a legit line for line. I don't want to speak too much on this. It's just because I haven't seen too much of the research, but supposedly she was clean, and I don't want to offend any fans of Amy Winehouse who are listening to this. I'm just saying this because I did too much of the research. So she was fully clean, and I'll also agree with that. But I know supposedly she was clean when she died. It's just because all the drugs in her system, all the heroin, as well as all the heavy drinking and the amount of smoking that she's been doing, it was just too much. Because when you do a lot of drugs, especially when you're young, and even when you're clean, it has a heavy toll on you. That's what I know. We've talked about him in the past, but I'm going to talk about him briefly again. That's what most people believe. That's how Matthew Perry died at first, was because he took a lot of drugs, and then it had a huge effect on him, and he unfortunately passed away. But of course, we know that wasn't really the case. But with Amy Winehouse, it was. And again, compare from Matthew Perry to Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse was, as we're talking about it, she was 27. And Matthew Perry was 54, I believe. He was 54, so that's a huge age gap. And not only that, it was also more constant than Amy Winehouse. It also just depends on their health levels and stuff like that. I say it's tragic. All these stories we're about to say, it is tragic in that most of that has to do with the life. That's where I'm going with this, because I have a whole bunch of people who died at the age of 27. By the way, I'm only gonna name the really, really famous ones that I heard of and I know, or that I'm just a lot more familiar with. Robert Johnson. If you want to know how I knew about Robert Johnson, a blues musician, when I don't listen to blues, from the 1930s, how do you know about that? If you want to ask me that, it's because a long time ago I saw a movie with Ralph Macchio called Crossroads. Yeah, it was a movie called Crossroads, which starred Ralph Macchio, and it was about the legend of Robert Johnson, about the man selling his soul to the devil. And then there was and then that story kind of became a huge impact for the show Supernatural. Just a side note, by the way, if you're in Texas, Austin, they're gonna have a Supernatural convention in Austin, so I might want to go to that. Hopefully, I can get enough money to go and see them, because I've met Mark Shepard. I wouldn't say he's a nice guy, but I know he is a nice guy. He's just like, people know him as Crowley, as like the douchebag, so he kind of keeps up that persona. And then I met Kim Rhodes, and at this point, people are like, "Who haven't you met?" Yeah. So that's just something I don't know. I'm just randomly saying right now, just to put in more time. But but back to Amy Winehouse again. Tragic. Blake, her ex-husband, is always going to be the one to be blamed for introducing her to he was always blamed for introducing her to heroin, and then like supposedly, at least what the movie made it. I don't know how true this is. If you want to see a truer version of Amy, and I haven't even seen this, but my aunt, my cousin, they saw this and they actually liked it. But there's a documentary that came out in 2015 called Amy. It won the Oscar for Best Documentary. I think it goes into depth a lot more than what the movie put. I don't know where you can find it, but maybe you can find it on Amazon, but you got to pay for it. But I think that documentary goes into a lot more depth than what the actual movie does. Supposedly in the Sam Taylor Johnson version of the movie, she was a little bit resilient of the drugs. Yeah, I mean, if Amy Winehouse was resilient, it shows how human we all are, because saying no to drugs, which is an easy thing to do, it's also a hard thing to do. That's again why I don't smoke. I think, like, if I just try it once just to see why people like it, I know I'm going to get addicted to it. That's why I choose not to. Plus, I got people that hold me accountable if I try to. So, but she seemed a little bit resilient towards the drugs at first, but then because she was so in love with Blake, and I guess now we'll talk about the real life. We'll talk about it in real life. She was so in love with Blake that she did anything just to stay with him. And Blake, I mean, knowing that them together is bad for both of them, was bad for both of them, that he had to leave. He had to get divorced. They had to get divorced. He got clean and she got clean. And they interviewed her ex-husband when the movie was coming out. He said he met the actor who was playing him, and he said just watching the actress play Amy brings a lot of memories back, and he said he really captured Amy well, like how she walks and talks and stuff like that. And he said, like, he knows, like, he is the one to blame. Just know, guys, that, like, everyone is a victim, even though I don't always believe in the victim mentality, because the victim mentality, and we're going off track a bit, but the victim mentality is basically like, you're just offended. That's the victim mentality. But if you're someone who does drugs, you're an actual victim, because he was also a drug addict. He wanted to get clean, and not to put blame on Amy Winehouse. Again, I'm just going to be clear about this, guys. She also could have said no. And again, he also could have not done it in front of her. Again, it shows how human we are. Well, I mean, we choose to do one thing and then we could have avoided choose the other. Or we could choose to do one thing but avoid the other. But oftentimes we don't. Like he said, he knows he gets blamed. And I mean, I don't remember too much of the interview, but I know the reporter asked if he's doing okay. He's been sober for more than 10 years. Actually, I think like 15 years. I don't remember like when he started getting clean and when they started getting divorced. So, but the reporter asked Blake, "Hey, are you okay?" And he says, "Yes, I'm doing a lot better now." Because he's married, he has a couple of kids. I mean, again, it is tragic, but in the end, I've always believed that you have to tune out the people that aren't gonna make your life feel good. that aren't going to do good to your health and to your benefits. And another brief singer, and I guess we'll talk about her for a bit. I don't have too much information, but I know she's very famous, and I think you guys might know who she is. Janis Joplin. Janis Joplin was another singer that, of course, she died at 27, as we always said. Let me actually look up some stuff because, hold on. So, alright, so again, she was also a singer that at the age of 27, as I mentioned. Oh, she's from Port A. To all my non-Texas folks that are listening to this, she was Port A, or Port Arthur is a city here in Texas. So let's see. Honestly, I don't know any Janis Joplin songs. I know how big she was. Like, I hear people play Janis Joplin around me, but and I heard her voice, to be honest with you. I just never knew the songs. I don't remember the song names. I'm just being honest. Like I said, I'm just talking about people that I've heard of. Janis Joplin, I heard of her, but I never listened to any of her songs. And I'm just looking at, like, dude, she looked like a kid. Oh man, and then just the photo of her makes her look a little bit older. This photo that I'm looking at, I'm not even recording myself visually. I'm just recording myself with audio. But I'm just looking at this photo of her, guys, of like months before she died, and she looks like she's almost pushing 40, like legit. And then all these other photos make her look like a kid. But I've heard her voice, and it's very like, yeah, dude, so young, man. 1970, guys, and that's you know what? I'll wait. I'll pause on that because, and I'll explain when I come back from the break. But like, this is a tough topic, guys. And honestly, like, if this is the kind of episode, and it might not seem like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it might not seem like disturbing as I'm making it out to be, but it is gonna be a little bit more sensitive and stuff like that because of like substance abuse and stuff like that. Even more, it's gonna be even more than that. So like, if this is a kind of if this is the kind of episode that you're not comfortable with, and I'm sorry I didn't stress this enough, and I didn't stress this in the beginning of the episode. I just remembered it. If you haven't been comfortable at this point, and you're starting to feel a little bit comfortable, and you don't feel like you want to listen to the rest of this episode, you can go ahead and skip it because it's one of those sensitive topics. Anyway, yeah, like I said, anyway, I'm going to take another break, or I'm going to take a break right now, and we'll talk about, you know, more of the 27 Club. All right, welcome back, everyone, and if you're still tuning in, like I said, it's gonna kind of be a very sensitive-ish episode. So, yeah, we're still on 27 Club, and, you know, most of these people who died were musicians. One of the most famous musicians, and these two, not only were, you know, they died at the age of 27, they were both left-handed guitarists, which is pretty it's a weird correlation. I'm not gonna lie. It's a weird correlation how they died at the same age, and not only that, they were left-handed guitarists. But if you know who I'm talking about, then you know. But if you don't know, the reason why I was like surprised at the 1970 date of Janis Joplin, who I talked about earlier, who again died at age 27. She died of an overdose. The other person that I saw that died from an overdose at 27 in 1970 was Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix, you guys. First of all, everybody should know who Jimi Hendrix is, and sometimes people don't, and it's kind of like, bro, like, come on. Like, Jimi Hendrix is the reason why people want to be guitar players, because man, he introduced guitar playing to a whole nother level. I mean, he had this sound that was different, you know, from people back then in the 1970s. I think he's the reason why, again, there was distortion pedals now. One of the most famous things about Hendrix is that because he was the left-handed guitarist and because of how rare it is, he had to learn how to play the right-handed guitar differently. Like how, and I do play some guitar, and I'm right-handed, and how we normally play it is the top string is always the low E string. It's low E, A, D, G, B, and A. But yeah, I had to pause and think when I was thinking about when I was saying it. Low E, A, D, G, B, high E. How he had to play it was high E, B, G, D, A, and low E. Yeah, like he had to play it differently. Again, great musician. Smoked a lot. Like not. I don't mean cigarette smoking like Amy Winehouse. I mean, that kind of, the other kind of smoking. Like constant. He was high all the time. I do know like some of his music. Voodoo Child, Purple Haze, Foxy Lady. There's always that famous, video of him, I think it was Woodstock, where he was playing the national anthem with his guitar. He liked his guitar playing more than he liked his singing. I don't think it was a bad singer. I think he was a pretty good singer. But I think he preferred, guitar playing over singing. And I wish he was still around, at least longer than that, because who knows what his career would have been. I know what was it? He died, I think, September 18th, 1970. So less than a month from Janis Joplin. So hold on. So Janis Joplin died October 4th, 1970. Jimi Hendrix died September 18th, 1970. So they died, like 2 or 3 weeks apart from each other. 3 or 4 weeks apart from each other. My math is off right now, but like I said, actually it says he dies from asphasia. Oh, okay, so yeah, because I think Jimi Hendrix died in his hotel room, because I think he was in London at the time, and his girlfriend, I think it was his girlfriend, woke up with him like dead the next day, and I think supposedly he choked on his own vomit. That's why when there are people that are like, if they're severely drunk, I mean like 20 cases of beer in one night drunk, or if they're severely high, people make sure like they have him on their side, because if he wakes up, because if you're drunk or if you're high severely, your system, your digestive system and all that, don't quote me on like all the science and stuff like that, but I'm saying you have the urge to vomit. And if you're lying down, you won't be able to vomit, because there's no way to release. That's why they have you lie on your side. I think you can't even lie on your front either. And that's also why, like, generally, like when you sleep, like in general, you have to lie on your side, because you can have a hard time breathing when you're lying on your back or on your side and stuff. But yeah, it's tragic. I would have loved to see what he would have done in the future. There's this theory that Jimi Hendrix and Morgan Freeman are the same person, because somebody found like a really, really old picture of Morgan Freeman when he was young, and he kind of looked like Jimi Hendrix. But I don't know. I'm not into that theory. I mean, they're two separate people, but and plus they sound different. That's the other thing. They sound different. He was a great musician. Like I said, Purple Haze and Voodoo Child. That wah sound. That's what it's called. It's called that wah sound in Voodoo Child. That was guitar playing no one's ever heard of. And again, a lot of famous guitarists will say like, dude, Jimi Hendrix was the one, the GOAT. Some would say. I have a Jimi Hendrix shirt. I've had a couple of Jimi Hendrix shirts. I've been to 2 Hall of Fames that had them. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Ohio, and then not too long ago, the Musicians Hall of Fame in Nashville. And they have this thing called the Jimi Hendrix Experience. And it's a smoky van. And you can use your imagination what that means. But then you just see all like his songbooks, his style, his guitars. Man, like he was like the guy. That's pretty much it. He was the guy. The other guy that I want to talk about too is Kurt Cobain. Because not too long ago would have been Kurt Cobain, I think, 50th birthday? I don't remember. But 50th or 60th birthday. I think it was like his 60th birthday. Because it's already been, I think, 31 years. So I'm going to go. So I got this page open that tells me, here it is. Okay, so I was way off. It has been almost 31 years. It'll probably be 31 years by the time this episode gets released. But he would have been 58. He would have been 58. Kurt Cobain, as we all know, and if you don't know, oh my gosh, I hate when people don't know. I hate when people don't know, because that means you're living under a rock. You're too sheltered, and your parents just don't know how to raise you. That's not to be a douche about that, but that's just how it is. Kurt Cobain was the front man of Nirvana. And like I said, he was also a left-handed guitarist. It's a weird parallel between him and Jimi Hendrix. He did not die of a drug overdose or really any intoxication, though he was always high and he was always drunk. He died, from I don't even think I'm even allowed to say it just because of the platforms that hold this podcast, but I'll just say he shot himself. I think that's what I can say. He shot himself. He was going through a lot in his life at that point. I think they said he was going through some depression, and I would say the also other reason why I wanted to do this episode was because there was a small reunion with Dave Grohl, who was drummer of Nirvana. I know even hardcore Nirvana fans will say they'll only remember Kurt and Dave. Chris Novoselic, I can never pronounce his name, guys. Chris Novoselic, who was the bassist of Nirvana. Him, Dave. So Dave, Chris, and I believe Kurt Cobain's daughter returned one night, and they did all the songs. They were doing some of the songs, and I haven't even seen the video, so I actually need to check that out. Here it is. It was the Fire Aid concert for Los Angeles. All right, and they performed. They were joined by Saint Vincent, Kim Gordon, Joan Jett. Okay, so I thought it was Kurt Cobain's daughter, but I guess I'm wrong. Maybe it is. I don't remember. Oh no, it was Grohl's daughter. Never mind. But I did know Kurt Cobain had a daughter. With who was his daughter? Who did he? Okay, Courtney Love. There it is. He had a daughter with Courtney Love. I don't know if they were still together when he died, but I know she was even messed up. Courtney Love. I think she also had some drug issues. It's tragic, guys. Just in general, that how he died is tragic. I mean, death itself is sometimes it's just really how, you know what I mean? Because I'm gonna get personal with you guys right now. A year ago, I lost a friend through self-harm. I don't know how, what he did. I got a text message from somebody I used to work, and he told me, hey, I have some unfortunate news. And he says, do you remember, I want to keep this guy's name under wraps, guys. I don't, just for the respect of his family and his kid. I'm not gonna give you guys his name. That it's just, I just don't want that too much out there. I'm already giving away this part, but this is as far as I can tell you. But he asked me if I remember the guy we've worked with, my friend that we've worked with, and I said, yeah, I can never forget him. And he tells me, well, he offed himself. That's just how I'm saying it. He offed himself. He was just going through a lot, and he just couldn't take it anymore. Because he was going through a lot when I left. I'm not going to give you too much information, but he was dealing with family stuff at that time. I know at that time, his girl, I think he was his girlfriend, had just gotten pregnant with their son. And this was back in 2021. This was 24. His son was born early in 22. I'm not going to give you what months, but it was early 22. And the fact that, you leave behind a 2-year-old son with your ex, and, I wish he was alive now so I could be mad at him for what he did. And I know like I said, this was going to be a tough episode, you guys. Like I said, it's difficult when you die in that kind of manner. It was difficult. It's difficult when you die from an overdose or alcohol poisoning, which is most of these people. It's even hurtful when it's what Kurt Cobain did to himself. You know, you leave the world behind. And I've never had those thoughts. Or, like, I've had, but it was never like a constant thing, like an everyday thing. Like, I hate the world, I just want to leave now thing. Like, I've only thought of it like once or twice. Or, no, okay, I thought of it like a few. But I think, guys, I think before I do things. I don't want to put my family through that. I don't. We've already been through a lot. We're still going through a lot. Just me doing that, like I'm in a better place now, thank God. And if I wasn't, and I did that to myself, especially especially through what a lot of us can be going through now, I don't want to do that to them. I don't want to do that to my family. I don't want to do that to my friends. You know, and I've always believed that, like, if you off yourself, that, you know, it's a one-way ticket to hell. I've believed that, and I don't want to gamble on that, you guys. I really don't. Like I said, this was going to be a sensitive topic to talk about. But there's just no way to end this off from here. But I'll take another break right now, and just to get you guys recuperated and stuff, because I think I need that right now. So we're all going to take a break just to recuperate. So give me a second. All right. Hopefully everyone had a good few moments to recuperate. I know I had to. It was a tough thing for me to say. Another two musicians that I know that had died at that age through drugs. One of them being Jim. I think that's what his name is. The lead singer of The Doors. Jim Morrison. From The Doors. I've never listened to The Doors. But I've known about, you know, Jim Morrison, and, you know, that he died at the age, and was it the same thing too? Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. Oh, looks like it. Yeah, because it says he died in France. Heart failure. He had heart failure. Because that's interesting. So let's look at this. So if you've had heart failure, so I guess, yeah, I mean, you gotta remember, most of these people, it was the 60s, like drugs and alcohol were really heavy. Anyway, I said he died of a heart failure. I think another musician that I know died at that age, and I think I remember a documentary about them. The guy, I think his name is Brian Johnson. Hold on, Brian Jones. So Brian Jones was one of the guitarists of the Rolling Stones. Like, he played that sitar in the, what is it? The Fade to Black. He's played guitar, but he's played sitar. And, you know, I saw that documentary too. And I think what it said was happened to him was, in his home in England, he was so intoxicated that he drowned in the pool which is, again, sad. Like I said, guys, like, when they say don't do drugs, they mean don't do drugs. And I'm not one to get preachy on all of this, guys. Like, I'm not what to tell you, hey, what to do, what not to do with your life. But I'm also saying, like, when you're hearing all of this, you also need to take another look at life. Like, if you like to drink alcohol, I don't know, I shouldn't have said alcohol, but if you just like to drink, I'm not gonna stop you. I'm not. But I rarely drink. Like, I drink like 3 or 4 times a year. Like, and it's not even heavy, guys. Like, it's barely like 1 can or bottle of beer. That's about it. I'm just saying that, like, there's nothing, man. Well, I'm gonna tick people off no matter what. So I'm just gonna say there's nothing entirely fun about being drunk, guys. Like, it's not fun. I've seen the way people are hungover the next morning, and, like, I don't want to be there. Like I said, I'm not gonna stop you. You live it, but it's also like, you got to be more mindful of it, guys. I'm not gonna go into details, but that's just, I guess, where I should leave off of, because I don't want to get too much off topic. But Going back to it, yeah, the failure, the mixture of like what but Brian Jones and Jim Morrison. Like I said, this was the '60s. They constantly did this, and I'm just looking at some others, and I see one named Jean Michael Basquiat. I've seen this multiple times, but I don't know. Apparently, he was some artist. Okay, I'm just looking up this list. Let's see how he went out. Overdose on drugs, again, pretty common. The only ones that I know that are like, and there's a whole bunch of them. Luckily, it's not all, drugs or alcohol. Like, some of them are just freak accidents. One recent one, and I guess I'll end this off from here. One recent one was Anton Yelchin. He starred in the remake of Star Trek. He also, I think he played Kyle Reese in Terminator Salvation. And he also played, I think he came out on the remake of Fright Night. He was a very up-and-coming actor, Anton Yelchin. What happened to him, it has nothing to do with drugs or alcohol. Or anything really that, like on in any of that matter, especially with Kurt Cobain. What happened was, I think he was going to get his mail, and I think the parking brake in his car came loose, and rode over him. I think that's how it went down. Like, he accidentally got ran over. Hold on, let's look at this again. I want to get this right. Okay, yeah. So, it was on an incline, and it pinned him against a brick wall. That's a lot of pressure, like going in, like up against your body. Like, you have, what was it, like 100 tons of pressure ramming, like squishing you. You're literally between a moving car, a car that just like pushed you or whatever, and a brick wall. So all of that pressure is just squishing your insides and breaking your bones and stuff like that. I didn't mean to put any image in there, but that's what it was. And then this was all over the internet a year ago. We'll end it off from there. Chance Perdomo. Okay, so he used to be part of Sabrina, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is the Netflix, a Netflix show, about Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Hold on, is it about Sabrina the Teenage Witch? Yeah, it's the Netflix version of Sabrina, which I guess, which is more like a horror comedy, I think. I've never seen the show. And he also starred, but Chance Perdomo also starred in Gen V, which I've also never seen, but I like The Boys, so I've been meaning to watch Gen V for a while. If you don't know what Gen V is a spin-off series of the Boys, and that's as far to my knowledge as I can tell y'all. But he died of a motorcycle accident. This is why you don't buy, or this is why you shouldn't ride a motorcycle. That's something my mom would tell me, because I thought about getting a motorcycle, because I used to be a huge fan of Sons of Anarchy. I met most of the cast of Sons of Anarchy, actually. It's a really great show, by the way. But it's because of that I wanted to learn how to ride a motorcycle. And I know how dangerous it is, guys. There's really, nothing to it. But it's even dangerous to even ride a bike outside, because you don't know if a car is going to swerve and hit you. Especially, even if you're, riding a car. And I listen to my own podcast in my own car. I'm just going to leave it from there, but you get the picture. Yeah, it's just dangerous. But to my point, one, I needed a topic to talk about. But two, it's tragic how, these people, they could have had big careers. But tragedy strikes. Tragedy strikes big time. I know this was very heavy to talk about, guys. I'll definitely have a lighter note for the next couple of episodes. This is just something that, I felt like people should know, and their stories and stuff like that. And I think there's lessons to learn here, too. Especially, yes, say no to drugs. I'm gonna say it, guys, because even I've seen this a bunch of times. Don't pressure people to drink or do drugs. Don't call them squares. Don't say anything, guys, because you're gonna ruin that person's life. And it's happened to me before. I wouldn't say full pressure. It's more like I felt like I just had to fit in. And if you're that person, don't do that. Don't feel like you need to be part of the party, guys. And you don't know if there comes a situation where you have to be the only sober person for them, because people drive home drunk, people drive home high. So what is that? Make sure they're doing okay. Check on them at night. Make sure they're good. Check them out the next day. You know, like I said, I guess lessons can be learned on this episode, and I guess we can talk about it. I mean, like, literally check if people are okay. You know, because maybe Kurt wasn't the only one to die that way at his age. I'm pretty sure tons of 27-year-olds out in this world have died that way. So I guess just try to do good in life, guys. You only live once, and you don't know when your time is coming. I mean, take a look at the club. You know, it's tragic that it's called a club. And it's tragic how all these people went out. But we have to avoid, you know, how they lived and stuff like that. You know, the spotlight was always on them, and I guess the added pressure is what drove them to it. But like I said, guys, just be careful in life. Don't feel pressure. Don't put pressure on people. But understand that life is precious. That's all I can say. We'll go on to lighter notes for the rest of the season. But like I said, this was a tough topic. But anyway, hope you guys are having a good night, day, morning, whenever you're listening to this. Love you all. Take care.